Hello, this video is about when EL students are referred to special services. This video is made especially for all of our friends in the special ed department, but could be used by anybody who's interested in the connection and figuring out if you've got an EL student, is it language, is it another issue? So that's really the big question here, right? Is it a language issue or is it a disability, or could it be both? And we know that this is an area that we've continually struggled in, sometimes over-identifying, sometimes under-identifying, and it's just been a continual challenge. This video doesn't claim to have all the answers, but we do have some great new tools that we think you're really going to appreciate when you're trying to parse out, is it language, or is it something else going on? Or is it both? So let's dig right in. And the first thing that we really want to ensure is that we are looking at the whole child, especially considering English norm scores are problematic for EL students. So if you're just looking at a DIBELS score, that's going to be an issue. A MAP score is going to be a problem too. Those aren't normed on ELs. And so their scores are going to look quite different and usually lower than what the English norm says. Also, those isolated data points don't really provide a big picture of what's going on, including the child's background and abilities in other languages as well. So what do we have? What are some data points? I kind of just explained to you what are some data points that maybe would be problematic, but we've got a few that we really think are going to be useful. There's one that you are probably familiar with. We went over, at least if you're a school psych, we went over the EL student profile. You will have access to these slides, and within the slide, if you just click here, it will open up the actual document, and we'll dig into that in a minute. Another one, and this is new this year, we think you're really going to like it for our elementary folks. We have an elementary EL report card, and there is a whole presentation and video just about that, and it is linked right here, so you can click on that to dive in a little deeper there. And then we also have a secondary EL portfolio that is done digitally. Obviously important right now when we're in remote, and there is a link here that explains even more in further detail about the portfolio. But let's just give kind of a 3,000-foot level of each of these three documents so that you can kind of get an understanding for how we could use them. The EL student profile, we really think is a must when it comes to deciding if to a SAT team meeting or trying to parse out, is it a language or is it a disability? This is like the go-to #1 document that we really think everyone should be using for a starting place. It does consider those cultural factors like the student's previous formal education or family language practices. It also includes some historic academic data and can shine a spotlight on other factors, other background factors, such as trauma or interruptions in schooling that would impact their performance on tests. And it includes strengths and concerns. We're going to be having some pop-ups on these. These yellow pop-ups give suggestions for who could complete each form. So in regards to the EL student profile, we would suggest asking the classroom teacher of the student that's being referred, or if the school has an EL specialist, and we're going to be giving you a list of those at the end, or the school counselor could complete this form. You could also always start with Maria Gonzalez in the bilingual department, ask her to put in some of the data pieces, and then send it over to the school. That's fine too. Okay, let's talk about the brand new EL report card. It has been in the works for a couple of years, and we are so excited to finally start using it. We have an example on the screen here of a kindergarten one, but it focuses on language acquisition and progress within language acquisition. It is not connected to content knowledge, which is great because that can be hard to separate out, as you all know. And it's directly aligned to the ELP standards. If you want to dig in even more and understand even more in depth about this, I suggest you go back a couple slides and click on the link about it that I mentioned before, and it'll walk you through. If you would like this filled out, which I think would be another great piece of information combined with the EL student profile to paint a clearer picture, ask the EL specialist to complete the form. If there's not an EL specialist at the school, right now we're suggesting you contact Lori Sarver, and if you don't have her email, it is a link right there that you can get from the slides. All right, this is the third one, and this is just for secondary students, but we're very excited about this as well. It is the secondary EL portfolio. You can see we have an implementation guide here. That's what we have a screenshot here of on the picture on the slide, and it shows all of the assessments. It's a collection of formative assessments, formative language assessments that are given in multiple checkpoints throughout the year. The idea is to give a current snapshot of where the student is in all 4 language domains, and then to be able to track their progress. It does focus on language acquisition, and it is aligned to the ELP standards. So you could ask the EL teacher in the building for access to the portfolio. And most secondary schools do have an EL teacher. If there's no portfolio on the student, maybe it could be for various reasons. Contact Lori Sarver and she can work with you on figuring out how to get some of these assessment pieces. All right, so we feel like this kind of starts to put some of the pieces together. We want to look at the whole child. We don't want to look at isolated data points. The student profile helps us with that. We also want to look at progress over time. Is this child acquiring language? And we really feel like the report card or the portfolio can help with that, to help us kind of put all those pieces together. Also, just a friendly reminder, don't forget to have an EL specialist on your SAT team and IEP meetings. And we have a list here. You can look at the slides and click on this list for a document that has the person that you could have on the team meeting in every building. All right, thanks you guys. If you have any further questions or want to discuss this even more, we are more than happy to chat. You can reach out to me, Sarah Del Toro, or Lori Sarver, or obviously Maria Gonzalez. Thank you.